Today's topic is going to be a little bit from the field because we don't normally talk about these things because these kind of things, because I think as a human being, we tend to want to focus on things that are positive, focus on
Mm,
things that are, uh, promising for our future rather than something that is quite depressing.
yeah.
However, whilst I was doom scrolling for the Avenger, the up and coming movie, the Avenger Doomsday, for some reason YouTube decided that okay, that's enough about Marvel movies. Let me give you a dose of reality. Doomsday: How to
Mhm.
Prepare for the Nuclear Fallout. And if you know me, as if I was going to skip that video, of course not. So I hit play and I texted Steven the next day. I said that, hey, can we talk about Doomsday today? And
Yeah,
Steven said, why not?
exactly right. And it's a topic I think that is complex, way more complex than you might first think. There have been a whole lot of movies, TV series. Fallout, the TV series that I really enjoyed, is another one of them. They all paint this weird picture of what happens after the apocalypse,
Yeah.
but not like when it happens or during.
And there's a lot of misconception when it comes to what you instinctively will do in terms of saving yourself or survival instinct that kicks in the face of danger
Mhm.
compared to what you should be doing when the nuclear attack happens. Because uh, throughout evolution, human beings, our ancestors, including us today, we are relying on our senses. What we can see, we can hear, we can smell,
Yeah.
and we can feel. However, when it comes to the nuclear fallout, the majority of the time, it's a little bit like COVID pandemic survival instinct. The majority of the time, that saves 99% of people who would survive this event would just be waiting. But before you go into something depressing, I want to talk a little bit about what I did yesterday, which was
That's a great idea.
yes, which was attending one of the busiest, most happening, and most exciting trade show in the culinary and hospitality industry here in Sydney. It was hosted by two Profidors, which is one of the very well-known food distributors here in Sydney, and it was at the Carriage Works in South Everleigh in Sydney. And the reason I want to talk about this is because this episode of this podcast is proudly sponsored by Table 181. I even wear their color. The reason why I held this up, this is not wine, this is not alcoholic beverage. This is actually soy sauce, or what a soy sauce product should be. It is an extract from dashi and anchovies, because a lot of you probably do not know, or as Stephen very smartly and wisely reminded me, that it was actually in one of our past newsletter that talk about extract or seasoning. In this particular case, in the newsletter, it was a seasoning that is used by the Roman civilization many thousand years ago. But the same concept, the soy sauce that we know nowadays, is actually not what it was when it was first invented. The word soy sauce came from a word called ketchup. As a matter of fact, tomato sauce, ketchup, came from this root word of Chinese or Southeast Asian cultural language. Ketchup is derived from extract of fish, and this is what this soy sauce is intended to be savory, umami, the deeper layer and multi-layer of flavor instead of just being salty. Stephen said that there is approximately 7 spots in the spectrum of being salty, and this sits in the different spots depending on where you put it on your tongue and how long you have let it sit in your tongue. So um, if you want to taste something that is a lot more umami and savory compared to your normal supermarket and store bought soy sauce, go to Table 181 website, and they have a lot of products that you probably don't see in your normal grocery shop. So thank you so much for supporting this podcast.
Thank you. I even got a chance to taste
Do you want to
this
taste it
close up.
on?
Well, I have tasted it. I can describe it. My palate is okay. Probably all those years of wine drinking. It
Stephen
is.
is being humble. His palate, he has one of the most refined palates that I know, and I feel that I am in a position to be able to not judge, but sort of kind of say that because I'm not just saying that because you're doing this podcast with me. I'm saying that because all of the things that you talk about that we discuss when it comes to food really resonates with me because, like you, I have gone through a lot of experience when it comes to food, mainly
Mm,
because I love food, and I learned a lot about,
mm,
especially when describing about flavor, because it's one thing experiencing the flavor, but what I really appreciate from you is that whenever you speak about food or ingredients, the
mm.
way you have a way of verbalizing and describing flavor, which I think I have a lot of admiration for.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Um, Go and check out, what was the brand again? One more
Table
time?
181, and I know that
Fantastic.
it sounds really funny. I'm not saying that to be mean or to laugh at the brand. It sounds really funny, but I always remember this because the reason why the founders chose the name Table 181 is because Idel Lee, which is one of the founders, the way that she envisions a perfect dinner would be one table,
Mhm.
8 seats, and 1 chandelier. Because, her background is South Korean, and in Korean culture, very similar to the Japanese as well as the Chinese culture when it comes to food,
Mhm.
especially during dinner time, it is not just about the food, but it probably just as importantly, if not more important, is about how you connect with people around you.
I think that is a awesome segue back into our topic, which might sound weird, but I think that if you're in a location for any amount of length of time, it's actually the people that you're in that location with that are pretty important.
That is correct, and I think, in Indonesia, uh, growing up, there is this proverb that says that a neighbor that is close by is a lot more helpful than a family that is far away.
Mm,
Because at the end of the day, it's the people around you. And I happen to be friendly with my neighbors. We don't go to each other's place for wine or dinner, but we're friendly enough to the point where whenever we're away or whenever they're away, we will look after each other bins during collection days
yep.
and collecting each other's
Yeah.
mails and
It's part
everything.
of the
It's
community.
part of the community.
Or tribe actually is maybe another word that we don't use as much, for the community anymore, but I
Look
like to think about it as a
Look
tribe.
at you. That is a throwback term. A tribe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we find our tribe in a whole lot of different ways, and in a whole lot of different places, as well, and we might have a tribe that we connect with at work.
Yes.
Colleagues, people that we work with, customers, uh, resellers, senior leaders, managers, etc. There's a tribe in there, but I think also in the community there are the people who might be next door or they might be in the same suburb. And one of the things I wanted to talk about in this prepper episode was a little bit about that because it's not just the food that you have in your pantry, although we'll talk about that in a minute. Uh, but I think it's also the people that you're with, who you can reach out to, who you can rely on. There are a lot of really sad stories from the COVID lockdowns where the elderly were perhaps, they weren't checked in on because family couldn't check in on them, and there are a lot of bad outcomes in that space as well. So
Yeah.
I've got a whole list of things that that our readers and listeners should maybe have a think about. And I'm not a doomsday prepper. I want to make that clear. I think that
Not even
yeah,
mentally?
no, look, I think we're a fair way away from a nuclear sort of doomsday situation. Uh, but I think as well that there are some benefits to having a bit of a plan. I asked one of my favorite AIs about recent Australian events that could result in the kind of preparation that people should be doing, and what I would suggest. And so it wasn't too long ago that there were cyclones in March 25 up in Brisbane, shut down a whole lot of the Brisbane distribution and supply chain networks. In February, out at Broome,
Yeah.
somewhere that you would never expect a cyclone to be,
Yes.
there was cyclones, and it shut down Kununurra's main freight routes, which was pretty big. Of course, there were the East Coast floods in 2022 and 2026 as well. So I think that while we, unless we were living in those areas, we may not have been thought that we were directly impacted. But actually, some of these big events can shut down supply chains.
Yes.
And what that means is that the supermarket runs out of toilet paper that we saw during COVID. Or
Yeah, that is the least of my issue because I mean you have water and this is the thing, like I always think when it comes to survival,
mm,
more often than not, it's human behaviors that are our downfall
okay,
rather than anything else. Because panic buying, for example, or the that strong survival instinct that kicks in that makes people do unthinkable things when it comes to protecting their own and their family members.
mm,
And I'm making two exception when it comes to helping people. I think I'm someone who always my first instinct is to help people, but after watching this video on YouTube, I think I'm making two exception when it comes to my first instinct to help people. Number one, in the event of nuclear fallout, what you need to do is actually not to go anywhere. You need to stay
stay in place.
in place inside your house that has the least amount of the room that has the least amount of windows or no window.
Hmm.
If you don't have anything like that, you need to stay in the center of the house, away from all of the barriers and the surface that goes in contact with the outside world.
Yep.
And you need to stay for at least 24 hours, if not 48 hours. And the first 15 minutes after the impact is really, really important because just the impact, I mean, if you're within the impact radius, then all of this is redundant because you will be vaporized. But it is actually for people who live out of the radius of impact, the most important thing is to not actually go out and take out your phone and take TikTok video or Instagram. You need to stay inside because it's actually the radiation and the
Absolutely.
radioactive materials that are being thrown into the air and being uh, carried away by wind to all of the
Mm,
places and gets onto your skin, onto your clothes and everything that can be very deadly. So the the chance of you surviving nuclear fallout if you stay inside for 48 hours dramatically increases up to 99%. And that is the first exception. You don't open the door for any reason for anyone
yeah.
because if you're doing that, then never mind being in the center of the house because you are inviting and contaminating what previously was a clean radioactive active free environment into something that is being radioactive.
Yeah.
And number
The only thing I wanted to add to that actually, and it aligns with a number of other things that are perhaps more realistic, whether it's pathogens or things that are airborne. Actually, a lot of people suffer radiation poisoning by what they breathe in.
That is correct.
And so the other thing that I would add to that shutting all the doors and finding somewhere that's contained and protected from the outside is coverings for your body,
Yes.
and face masks or ventilators
And
for your breathing.
and a lot of that comes down to something that you can because those are the things that you can take off to decontaminate.
Yeah,
And
and throw and get rid of.
yes, and if you somehow are being exposed to radioactive materials, make sure that you wash everything, your body with soap, use shampoo on your hair, and do not use conditioner because conditioner, the chemical makeup of it, actually attracts things. It makes things sticky,
Oh,
including
I didn't know
radioactive
that.
material. So, not that you have anything to worry about. You
I
you
had hair
you
at one
don't get the
point.
joke if you don't watch our Thursday show. You have to watch it.
I've got
Sorry,
hair
Stephen.
here somewhere. Yeah.
That was really mean. Um, conditioner. Do not use
No
conditioner in the
conditioner.
event of
Yeah.
contamination.
Yeah.
And number two rule in terms of you need to consciously and make conscious effort not to stop for people is when you're driving away. When you're driving away, especially in a very quiet place. And I don't think this only applies to a end of the world event. I really do believe that sometimes when you're driving, especially by yourself at night, in the middle of nowhere, and someone wants help, uh, be very cautious because it I know your heart is probably in the right place, but you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself and the people inside
Mm.
your, especially if you're traveling with your family. And the best thing that you can do is to call 000 or 911 if you're in the US, which surprisingly, did you see our stats, our podcast stats? In the month of July, 42% of our listeners come from the land of the free,
Wow,
which
that's
is
very cool.
really surprising. What time is it now? It's 11 o'clock in the US. So thank you for staying awake and staying up for us.
Maybe we're helping put people to sleep.
Don't say that. I just crack a joke. Surely that's not true. So those are my two rules in terms of not stopping and helping
Yeah,
people.
I think that's sensible. What about in our safe room? And I'm going to call it a safe room. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It just seems to make sense to me. I did a little bit of research around how much food and water a person would need, an adult would need. Of course, there will be different figures based on your size and weight and whether you're an adult or a child. But there's a fair bit of water that you need, I think, on a per person basis,
Yes.
that you need to keep uncontaminated as well. So you can't just turn on the tap
Yes.
because you don't know that wherever the water is coming from hasn't been contaminated, uh, which is uh, which is something that you would have to allow for.
Yes.
You can't boil radiation out of water,
No, it's not microbes that you can kill.
so you would need to have water stored already. So my research was around about 9 liters per person, also per day. Although, if you're locking yourself away for, say, 3 days, then maybe you only need 12 or 14 liters of water because you can start to ration.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I think I can't remember exactly what the golden rules when it comes to survival days. I think it's 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, 13 days without food, and there's another 30 days without something. So
Sunlight, maybe.
maybe, yeah. So that's basically something that we have to be conscious about because uh, it's one thing to always have your pantry stocked, right? But it's quite another thing to have water stored that is clean because,
Mhm.
like what you said, we're very lucky here in Australia that we can drink our tap water.
Yeah.
Uh, I do feel that a lot of families will have a higher chance of survival rate if it's only down to water because in Indonesia you can't drink the tap water. So in majority of the household they will have water stored, either
Mm.
the pre-boiled water that is then cooled down
Yep.
or water that is in the that has been filtered and stored. So that is one of the downside of having a drinkable potable tap water.
Yep.
And
You assume that it's
you assume
available.
that it's free flow. It's not free, but
Yeah.
it's free flowing. You still have to pay for that. Thank you, Sydney Water. And number two, the types of food, because again, your everything that you store in the fridge or freezer would probably spoil within the
Hmm.
24 hours or 48 hours without power. So you need to account for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, according to this video that I watched on YouTube, if it's if it's surviving the nuclear fallout, you only need to stay put for 48 hours
Okay.
before you can then go out. But obviously, in the event of emergency, all the stores would be raided, for lack of better word, in terms of the
Mm.
stocks and everything. So I think I don't know. I don't think I'm a prepper, but I think I'm mentally a prepper because whenever I watch movies about Doomsday or about the end of days or disaster movies, I always make a mental checklist when it comes to what I have at hand in house
Mm.
that can support my survival.
Yeah. Well, look, Dr. Vincent, one of the other interesting things about the nuclear potential is that a nuclear detonation sets off an EMP as
Yes,
well. And so any electronics that are connected to power and on at that time are almost certainly going to be fried.
yes. Which brings me to my third thing in the list is a hand crank radio
Nice.
because Wi-Fi will be wiped out.
No Wi Fi.
I mean, there was a drill in the island of Taiwan, I think not too long ago. So they are preparing in the case of invasion. What they did, the government actually shut down internet because that was the first thing that anyone who's invading any, especially an island, would cut off the citizens from.
Yeah.
We do know that in some of the mass process event, as well as during the first wave of Iran strikes, the Wi-Fi
Mhm.
was being disabled, the internet was being disabled
Yeah.
in the country of Iran. So I think that is why it's only $39. The reason why I know is because I just ordered one. It's $39. It functions as flashlight, uh, AM FM radio. It has solar power if you want to, but also a hand crank.
Mhm.
It functions as a power bank.
Yep.
So for $39, you may never use it. Hopefully, we never have to use it. But it's a good thing to have if you can afford it.
I think there are a couple of other things that we could add to the after hours doomsday kit,
Yes.
which I feel like we need to put together and sell now. That would
Okay.
be kind of cool.
Yeah.
One of them though would have to be a potable water container of some kind. You might laugh, but I'm old enough to remember the year 2000 event. And my wife and I, and we were both working in technology, so we understood just the implications of what could happen. And luckily, if anyone is was born after 2000, there were some things that failed, but actually most things are totally fine. For a couple of years, you'd step into a lift, and the lift would think it was 2000, and or the
The
lift
year
would
of
think it
what?
was like 1974 or something like that, right?
Okay.
It's, so lift dates may have gone out, but most everything else was fine.
Okay.
But working in the industry, we knew what the possible implications would be of supply chain failing. And so we had a 40-gallon drum of water that we'd filled up the week before. And we were living in a flat in Coogee,
Yes.
and it was is in one of our rooms for quite a few weeks because the idea was that if the year 2000 stopped water or power or blackouts were more the most likely
Yes.
that we thought, then at least we had water. And I do own a hand crank
There you go.
torch, not a radio, a torch.
Well, you need to get the one with the radio. And this is another thing that I feel that not that we can sell this because obviously in Australia it is heavily regulated. You have to go to your GP to get prescription for it, and it's nothing sinister. It is something as simple as antibiotic,
Mm.
because back in the day, people can die from a single scratch because of antibiotic. Because the lack of antibiotics.
Yeah.
Um, that's a really good reels. Actually, let me just say this again. Back in the day, people can die from a single scratch because of the lack of antibiotics. We trivialize infection now because it's so easy
Mhm.
to get antibiotic to suppress and kills these microbes that can cause a whole lot of issues in our body. And this is a little bit of a history lesson for you. Alexander Fleming was the one who accidentally discovered penicillin, and from then on, it has made a significant leap and bound in terms of human health. Because at that time, during the war, there was a lot more soldiers who died from infection than actually being in the
Yeah.
battlefield. So this is something that's really, really important.
Mm.
So I am. don't ask me how you get antibiotic without
Well,
prescription. Do not I can't say
I
this,
I
Stephen,
I
but
I wanna put a caveat on that
there you go.
because
Okay.
antibiotics have a use by date as well.
Yes, but in the event of emergency,
Yeah.
it unopened,
Mhm.
cool and dry storage, it will last up to 10 years. Obviously, in the ideal time, such as
Mhm.
now,
Yeah.
you want to make sure that it is well within date. But yeah,
Mm.
I always have emergency antibiotic
Mhm.
with me,
Yep.
with my person when I'm traveling, because on top of watching disasters movie, I also watch the series Lost. So uh, s- something's wrong here.
I think being prepared is a good thing. There's being prepared, and then there's being a prepper. I think there's a
I like that
distinction. I think
distinction. I like that distinction
mm,
because the thing with antibiotic for me is that being, for lack of a better word, being in the medical industry, in the health industry, and health field, I know how catastrophic an infection can be
mm,
without uh, antibiotic intervention. So I think that this is something that if you can have access to it, I think that's actually a really good thing to have. So we have our water, we have our hand crank radio, we have
yep.
our canned food. Uh,
Mhm.
that is probably the best way, or freeze dried fruit
Yep.
food, and then we have our medication.
And so the medication I feel falls into a couple of buckets.
Yes,
There's the what we were just talking about. There's the what happens if you get an infection, and antibiotics is the
yes.
best focus there. But actually, you should also have some band aids, a sling, some
All of
compression bandages.
the first aid kit.
Yeah, a first aid kit that has maybe some Panadol, some other
Yes,
antihistamines as
yes,
well would probably be of use
yes.
too. Uh, but the third bucket are medications that you're on as an individual as
Yes. So
well.
if you're on anti-cholesterol, for example, or
Mm,
a heart medication or a kidney medication, whatever medication that you know that you will need that is just specific to you, I think that is always a really good thing to have in hand. And it doesn't
mm,
even have to be for disasters or scenario or a
mm.
nuclear fallout scenario. When you're traveling, I always think that it's very very smart to have this type of medication with your person because you never know when your flight is being delayed or that you lose your check-in
Exactly.
baggage. It potentially will get back to you, but then you will lose 2 or 3 days without you will lose access to 2 or 3 days of your medication. So I think it's really important to have in your person.
Yeah. Having a list of those medications is critical as well,
Yes.
and not just for you. Critical for the people who are in your support group too. So if we do have a supply chain issue that hits the particular area that you're in, um, say it becomes impossible for us to move freight around Sydney for 7 days, that will have an enormous impact on the ability for medications to get in.
Yeah.
And if you have a list of medications that you need, which is shared with your local family or the support group that you'll be relying on, then at least they know what medications you need to be able to be healthy and happy while we're all locked down in a supply chain nightmare.
Yes. And before we go on to the next one, which is cash, because we are so spoiled
Mm,
now of just tapping, right? We go everywhere. You
yeah,
tap with your watch.
yeah,
You
there
tap
will
with,
be no tapping.
there will be no tapping. Well, to be fair, probably cash will be redundant too. I don't know,
Yeah,
depending on which movies you take as a reference. But before we go into that, I want to bring us back into the reality that we live in today. So I really like the the point where you say that sharing this list, sharing what you need, sharing if there's any special requirement for
yep,
you to live happily and healthily with people around you, because it's really important for them to know because they will not be able to support if they don't know. So I'm going to expand this a little bit to parents and kids and the car and leaving their kids in the car. A lot of the times, parents and I'm a parent too, so I'm not saying this to judge anyone. But what I'm going to say, I'm going to share with you one of my certainly in the top 10 scaries when it comes to being a dad, being a parent. I read I read this story or advice. It wasn't it was not on Instagram. It must be a long, long time ago. Never leave your kid in the car, even when it's not hot, and even when you think that it will only take 2 seconds. Pick up your coffee or something, and it has nothing to do with the kid being dead in the car because it's so hot or anything. Because you never know what will happen or what might happen when you step out of the car. Say, for example, you're just
Yeah,
going to pick up a cup of coffee that you already pre-ordered, so it literally will take 20 seconds. But when you step out of the car, go into the cafe, you might slip and you might lose your consciousness, but nobody knows that you actually have a kid being strapped in the car seat in the car waiting for you.
yeah.
And that can be disastrous. So
Mm,
I know that life can be really busy. You are trying to juggle a lot of things, but please make a concerted effort. Remind yourself, do not take that chance. And I do this every day. I'm so happy that majority of the time I would just walk my daughter to daycare because
mhm.
one of my top 10 in my top 10 list of things that really are scary for me is accidentally leaving her in the car or something and forgetting
Yeah,
about it because I need to go to the next meeting or things like
yeah,
that. So I this is something that I always remind myself, make concerted effort not to do. So while you're mentioning all of those things about the list and your circle and letting people around you know, this thought just came into my mind, and I thought that I might share this with
yeah,
whomever who is listening and whoever who is a new parent, or if you know someone who is a new parent, it is worth mentioning because uh, prevention is better than actually trying to remedy the
yeah.
the
Look,
situation.
I have a good friend who uh, would often mention that when they were a kid, their parent left them in the car, and I probably nobody listening to this podcast remembers cars when they had a manual handbrake. So you had to pull a lever to turn on the handbrake, or you had to pull a handle
You
that was
really
in the
have to
car.
watch the full episode on Thursday because Stephen would just
Doing the yeah,
doing yeah
the things.
yeah.
Um, and the handbrake would often, would come on, but in this particular instance, they were on a slight incline. The parent dropped out to pick up something from the chemist. The handbrake wasn't quite on, and when the car door closed, my friend who was in the car, strapped into a back seat, the car started to roll backwards. Now, luckily, nobody was hurt, but my friend tells that story any chance they get because it was so triggering for
Yeah,
them, and so they hate being in the back seat of a car just based on that single experience.
because it's a traumatic
Traumatic
experience.
experience, no control, strapped in a seat, and for no reason really.
I know, and I know that sometimes, going back to what I said at the beginning of the episode, human being, we are so predispositioned to think the most positive things.
Mm.
Most of us, because obviously we like to expect the best, but we also need to be prepared for the worst case scenario, not for us to be anxious, but for us to be mindful enough to not take unnecessary risks.
Yeah, and I think the message is just slow down a bit. It doesn't matter if it takes another 30 seconds.
Oh, well, I thought you were gonna say 3 hours or 3 days. So, yeah, 30 seconds, nothing, but don't talk to me, that it doesn't matter if it takes
So
another 3 days.
let's go back to our list because I love that you brought up money,
Yes,
because there is a whole community in almost every city that our listeners are in, uh, where there's bartering already. Like
yes.
this is without some apocalypse or catastrophe. People are exchanging goods for other goods, which I think
Or
is
skills.
kind of awesome, or even skills. Uh, and I think in a lockdown environment, that's going to be even more important because money is just not going to matter after an apocalyptic event
Yeah.
uh, like like a war, and it's not going to matter for a while either. So while you're locked down, learning to bake bread, learning to
Check.
weave, perhaps, so you can make things, even repairing clothes. I think that there are skills
Can you
for that.
solve?
I can. I'm a little bit handy,
Oh, wow.
so yeah, that's good.
Yeah, well, that is missing on my checklist.
Okay.
Okay.
I also think it fills another gap, which is something to do.
That is very, very true because, if you are into the period era of our
Mhm.
society, the reason why they promenade
Yeah.
is because they literally did not have anything to do.
hmm So going for a walk.
Going for a walk was the thing to do, but then obviously in the nuclear fallout, you can't. So
Yeah.
sewing it is.
Yeah. Sewing, cross stitch, knitting. A lot of people learnt to knit during COVID lockdowns.
Yes, yes.
It wasn't just baking.
Yeah, I was more on the baking side.
Okay, I was more on the juggling side.
Can you juggle?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, it's
you
quite
learn something
exciting.
new every
Yeah.
day.
But there are actually nine things. It's quite a well-known list. It's the Power Nine.
Okay,
Anyone who's looked into blue zones, for example, might be familiar with the Power Nine, because blue zones, which are very briefly places where people tend to live over 100,
okay.
there are. It's not just food. Uh, it's not just lifestyle that allows people in general to live to over 100. It's this list of nine things.
Give give
So the
them to me.
first one is moving. So
Yeah.
moving naturally, walking, gardening, doing chores, being somewhat active. And that's, as humans, we do need to move, otherwise we seize up.
Yes, our body is made to move,
Yeah.
and be it genetically as well as adaptation. Because obviously, back in the day, when we were out there in the wild, and you can see this, the reason, one of the reasons why a pack of wolf, for example, a flock of bird, or a school of fish doing this migration every year, every time of the year, is
Mm.
because biologically we are made to move genetically, but also the environment that we live in. If you don't move, be it to run away from predator, or to find food, to find greener pasture, the whole civilization, the whole species might just die.
Yeah. So moving,
Moving.
a purpose as well, and
So morale.
I yeah, morale I think is a key part of it. But also I think that even without a catastrophe, we all need a bit of a purpose, a
Yep.
reason to get out of bed in the morning. Um, was a really interesting study that was done in the US. I think it was Dallas University, potentially, that said people with a purpose tend to live 7 years longer,
Wow.
which is like it's a fascinating concept that if you have a purpose, and there are lots of people who get up, they look in the mirror, they have some sort of a statement that they make to each other. I think
I
you've
do
mentioned
that.
in the past.
It's going to be a great
Be a
day.
great day. That's a sense of purpose, and that positive thinking, that sense of purpose, really super important to living a longer life. But similarity, downshift, which is really the name for stopping, pausing, making time for you to reset or relax. It's not just about sleeping. In many cultures, it's prayer. Sometimes it might be happy hour. I,
Or
I, I tend to do happy hours.
or onsen,
Yeah.
because so far, you've mentioned four, the culture, the society that so far ticks all of the boxes,
Mm.
up till the fourth aspect that you just mentioned, is the Japanese.
Yep, absolutely. So taking a bath,
Yes.
or even just finding your spot in your house or in your local park, or on the coast or in the mountains, where you can sit, and you can sit for. You need to work up to it actually. If you don't do this already, try and sit just for 10 minutes.
Yeah, you just lost all of our Gen Z listeners, because I'm on your side, youngsters. when was the last time you sit by yourself doing nothing? And by nothing, I mean no phone, uh,
Start with 3 minutes.
for 3 seconds.
You can work your way up to an hour,
Yeah,
which might sound crazy to everybody, but I will guarantee you, come back at me if this doesn't work for you after you've tried it. Work your way up to just sitting still in
and
your own
if you
thoughts
wanna go
for an
back to
hour.
him, Instagram is at max_au. So he has made that public, over the past few days, so
I
it's
have. That's
max_au.
right. Moving on. Number 5, sorry, number 4 is belong. So you need
A community.
humans, they need to be part of a group. So that group might be local, that group might be on the internet, that group might be on Facebook. Great. Um, but you need to belong and you need to engage with those people as well. Of course, loved ones need to come first. You will have a small group of people that might be family, it might be family and friends, it might be a high school friend that you've had for years and years and years. You know, that kind of person that you don't see them for 3 or 4 years and then you bump into them on the street and it's like you spoke yesterday.
Yes.
Those sort of people, remaining in contact with those people, I think is important.
You're gonna hate me, but I'm just gonna go on a tangent because as you mentioned friends and family and
Mm.
people that you feel belong. Did you know that the saying "blood is thicker than water" actually it doesn't mean it doesn't mean what we think it means in its original
Okay.
form.
Yeah.
So the full sentence of the saying is that the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which actually means the total opposite of what we think blood is thicker than water.
Wow. Explain that just a bit more.
So the saying blood is thicker than water, most people will think the meaning of this saying is that relationship, familial relationship,
Mm.
blood relationship is thicker than friendship, which is
Yeah.
water, right?
Mm.
But the original version of this saying is the blood of
Um,
of a covenant.
yeah.
You know how they make blood pact, yeah, blood oath.
Mhm.
So they're not
Yeah.
related, but they use blood to seal an oath.
Yeah.
So
Or there are also religious
yes, so
suggestions in there too. Yeah.
the blood of a covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Which
Meaning,
is the familiarity.
yes,
Yeah, your actual family.
exactly. But then this original adage or saying is actually still kind of being disputed because there's another group of people who says that the original version is actually not even that. According to this group of people, the original version of this saying is that blood is thicker than water, but love is thicker than blood.
Right.
So, sometimes you people say that, oh, of course, you will side with your family because blood is thicker than water.
Mm.
But then there's a second part of that saying, which is love is thicker than blood.
Dr. Vincent, you've given me some homework.
I
I,
know.
I, I
Go.
wanna I wanna know now.
Can you go
I
on
can.
a mission to discover the truth of this saying, please?
I absolutely can. I will add that to the newsletter for sure.
There you go. So go on to the next
Um,
one, please.
Number 5 is the right tribe, and we've spoken about this a little bit. Knowing where you belong, I
Yeah.
guess. So it's not just the people that are in your area, but it's the people that you can rely on. Might be outside of family. Uh, Maybe you can't rely on family. Maybe you can more rely on your local tribe. But understanding that that having a tribe is important.
Yeah.
Um, Number 7, I want to call wine at 5, which is like that's my term. But it doesn't need to be alcohol related. Do you remember during COVID there was the 10 a.m.
Uh, did we
broadcast?
not? Did we talk about
We
it
maybe
last week?
spoke about
Yeah.
this last week. Yeah.
Oh, Dr.
Um,
Carrie Chan and Gladys.
yeah.
Remember
So
when Gladys allowed us to go out for an hour every
I
day?
I I know it seems
It
kind of
was.
crazy to look back at that.
I
It's so
know.
long ago as well. But the concept it remains the same. To have a particular thing that happens in some sort of constant cadence that you can center around
A pattern, a,
a
a,
pattern.
a predictability, and something that you can expect and look forward to.
Exactly.
So this is the reason why in a lot of cultures, dinner is a big deal.
Mm,
And I don't adhere to too many things in my life because I feel that I want to be free. I want the liberty to do whatever that I want, and I want to mix it up and be spontaneous. But I have to say that one thing that I largely adhere to when it comes to my daily life and routine
mm,
is dinner,
yeah.
because from very very early on in our upbringing, I always remember that that was the time when, text messages, like, you text with the keypad that you have to press multiple times to get to the letter that you want to get to.
Who's old now?
I know, right? So, I remember that it was banned from the dining table, and,
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I think I'm funny, but one of the reasons why I think I'm funny is because come dinner time when we were growing up, because 'cause I'm one of 4, and
Mm,
everybody was a talker.
mhm.
So you really, really needed to bring your A game, otherwise then, you don't get a word in.
I think that it could be dinner.
Yeah.
It could be breakfast. It's breakfast for
Yes,
a lot of people.
some people do that for breakfast,
Uh,
yes.
but also as we move out of home and as we're growing up, we might be in the same city, but it's just as important to get together with family
Your
on a
family is
regular
really good
basis.
with this,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I do know that you have your, family,
So Sunday lunches,
yes.
or at least birthdays and major events.
Yeah,
Father's Day is coming up here in Australia. I know it's different in the US, which is kind of weird.
I
That's
know.
another thing I need to
So
work
we
out.
have the same Mother's Day,
Yeah,
but a different Father's
Father's
Day.
Day. Yeah,
Yeah.
strange, huh?
It is very
Very
strange.
weird.
It's so unnecessary. And
Um,
also, I'm so looking forward for the Trump administration to abolish daylight savings, because it saves me a lot of hassle to convert, because we're going into our daylight savings. And
we are in
obviously,
October.
yes, obviously all of these meetings that have already been pre-booked.
Hmm.
I never I mean
They're
I'm
going to
ki
be an hour earlier.
I'm kinda smart, but when it comes to time, I don't know where we stand. So we spring forward and fall back for 1 hour. Is that correct?
So we push the clocks forward 1 hour when we go into summertime.
To
Um,
save daylight?
yeah, well, there's more daylight towards the end of the day
What the
because the clocks are gone forward an hour. So at 6 o'clock, there will be a certain amount of daylight, but during daylight savings, it's already 7 o'clock. So it feels like there's more daylight for the
but
day.
the day also starts earlier. Why don't we just say, I mean,
I've been campaigning for a long time to have 25 hours in a day. I think that that's a great idea. Doesn't really work with a calendar though. So unfortunately, we can't just change one end.
no, no, but why not just not change? I mean, the Queenslanders are doing it, but they said it's
Yeah.
because of the cows. They don't want to confuse the cows. Is
The
that true?
and the curtains. And the simple fact is that, apologies to all the flat earthers out there, but we live on a globe and there's the amount of sunlight at the equator is more than the amount of sunlight.
Do you still think that there's still people who believe that the Earth is flat out there?
There are absolutely still people who believe that the earth is flat.
No,
Number 8, how
no,
about
hang on,
our
hang on. No, no,
9?
no, 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 no. I'm so, so sorry. This will be an overtime episode. What? So today's date is Tuesday, the 18th of August, 2026.
Mhm.
You are telling me there are still people out there who wholeheartedly believe that our Earth, our planet Earth, is
Yeah.
flat.
Yes, definitely.
You're joking.
No, there'll be groups on Facebook. There will be, there's probably whole websites associated with it. Even flat earthers, and that's the term, flat earthers. Even when it's proven to them scientifically, they then like if there's a photo that's taken from the space station,
Yeah, yeah. How
they're
do they
like, no,
dispute
no, it's
that?
fake, fake news.
Wow.
But people like their beliefs. We've spoken about this in the past. People who hang on to these beliefs so tightly, and it's core to who they are. I don't think flat earthers are crazy.
Well,
They've
I
got a
do.
belief, and as long as they're not negatively impacting other people, That's
Do they can
okay.
is this something that they keep privately, or are they trying to convince? Because when it comes to beliefs and
Mm,
and things like that, sometimes people want to profess.
yeah.
For example, people who are, I don't know, who went to Harvard, or
Mm.
people who are closing. I'm just joking, guys. Do they
I
campaign? Do they profess?
I've never met I've met a few flat earthers. I've never met one who's tried to convince me.
Okay,
It's a belief that they hold themselves. Whereas, religion is very different to
okay.
that. You have a lot of religions who try to convince you as well.
Or if you go to
Mm,
Harvard. I mean, if I go to
yeah.
Harvard, I will profess that too.
Look, you could have gone to a university in Australia, and there are some universities, the Sandstone Seven, I think they're called. They claim to be the best universities in Australia, but actually, we have a lot of very, very strong universities in Australia that aren't part of that list.
That's correct. Or the group of eight.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the one. Sorry. Yep.
yes, I have to say that I'm very proud to say that I was admitted to Cornell University, which is part of the Ivy League university, but
Mhm.
I chose University of Newcastle over Cornell University. So go University of
Fantastic.
Newcastle.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Number 8 is food. We've spoken about food a fair bit, and number 9 is water. So that is our power 9 to move naturally, to have purpose, to downshift. So that's that making time to relax and focus, to belong, to have loved ones that you care about and that care about you, to find your right tribe. Uh, my wine at 5, which is really just something that is, generally
I
that you
love
do
that.
every
I
day.
love that.
I still like wine at 5.
It's five
The
o'clock
food,
somewhere in the world.
that's right. The food and the water. So there, that's me,
And
the power 9.
I really do think that this Power Nine list, and I know that depending on what you just listen to or watch or where you are in terms of your perception of how the world is going, because Doomsday Clock, I think we leap forward one more seconds or
Yeah.
1 more minute, I can't remember. So depending on where you are in the spectrum of how close we are to Doomsday, I do think that it's important to live in the now. And the 9 things in the list, the Power 9 list, is very, very important because a lot of times we are waiting for, some of us, we're waiting for the big event to happen before we start making changes or meaningful changes in our lives.
Mm.
Doing one of
Yeah.
the n- 9 points or 5 of them or all the whole list to live a better, healthier, happier life. But for majority of us, we don't need, and hopefully we never will need that big event that really shifts our lifestyle. And we should not wait for anything major to happen when we want to decide to be healthier. So a lot of times people make a change in their lifestyle when they have a heart attack or a stroke. But why wait?
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Today is a great day and perfect day for you to be healthier and happier. And by healthier, I don't only mean physical health. If you think about someone that you haven't spoken to in a long time, it's so easy. You don't
Mhm.
even have to pick up the phone. You can
Mm.
go to the Instagram, like or comment or say
Yeah.
hello, and you probably will bring some happiness in their lives, and maybe you will reconnect and do amazing things together. So there you go.
On that note,
Thank you so much for watching. Today, I have to say this episode is one of my favorite episodes because I don't even know how to title this. So I'm gonna give you the task of titling this episode because
fantastic.
we talk about so many different things. And Stephen will come back to you in terms of blood.
The
It's
blood
thicker.
is thicker than
Yep,
water.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. So
There's some Latin in there, I'm sure, is where I first came across that. So that's going to be my first stop.
well, there you go. We will see you next week. If you are watching this on Thursday, thank you for watching the whole episode. And if you are interested to watch this live, make sure you tune in around 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time uh, every Tuesday. So thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.